In the northern foothills of Denver, Colorado, nestled between Rocky Mountain views and suburban neighborhoods, Paw Perfect Dog Training Center operated quietly and efficiently. Sarah Mitchell, 34, had been running the facility for 8 years. The modest building housed spacious training areas, obstacle courses, and carefully organized boarding kennels. Sarah was average height with brown hair, constantly pulled back in a practical ponytail, always dressed for work. She typically wore khaki cargo pants, a black tank top, and sturdy hiking boots. Her face carried a perpetual calm smile, her eyes holding deep patience. A small paw print tattoo on her left arm caught occasional notice. Customers assumed it represented her love for animals. The training center had earned an excellent reputation among Denver's dog owners. Sarah's methods were both effective and gentle. She didn't force dogs into compliance. She communicated with them, building trust and understanding. Customers called her the dog whisperer. "Sarah's incredibly talented," said Rebecca Thompson, a regular client who brought her golden retriever, Charlie. "When I first brought Charlie here, he was completely out of control. Now he's a perfect gentleman." But there were details customers didn't notice. Sarah's commands were slightly different. Instead of stay, she used hold position. Instead of come, she said return to base. Instead of down, she commanded tactical down. Most people assumed these were Sarah's personal training variations. The center's dogs were also unusual. Sarah's personal pack consisted of Rex, a large German Shepherd, Luna, an agile Belgian Malinois, Titan, a powerful Rottweiler, and Echo, an intelligent Dutch Shepherd. These 4 dogs moved together like they shared a secret language, understanding each other with minimal communication. "How do these dogs work so well together?" curious customers would ask. Sarah would smile and simply say, "Lots of practice." The center accommodated 20 to 25 dogs daily, offering services from basic obedience to behavioral rehabilitation. Sarah's assistant manager, David Rodriguez, was 28, enthusiastic, and passionate about animals, but he knew nothing about Sarah's background. "How does Sarah stay so calm?" David would ask, especially when working with aggressive dogs. "She never gets stressed, never loses control." Sarah's office was located at the back of the facility. The walls displayed dog photographs and training certificates, but observant visitors might notice details. Some of the dogs weren't typical house pets. They were professional working dogs. In several photos, dogs wore tactical gear alongside Sarah, but nobody paid attention to these details. Sarah's daily routine never varied. She opened the center at 6 a.m., fed the dogs, and prepared training areas. From 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., she worked with clients. At 6 p.m., she closed the facility. Evenings were reserved for private training sessions with her own dogs, but these sessions were unlike anything customers ever witnessed. One evening when David stayed late, he secretly observed Sarah's work with her pack. What he saw surprised him. Sarah was teaching the dogs tactical drills, formations, silent approaches, containment techniques, but he couldn't understand the significance. Probably guard dog training, David thought. She must be preparing security dogs for wealthy clients. But the truth was far more complex. Sarah Mitchell's real name was Sarah Mitchell Thompson. For 12 years, she had served with the Denver Police Department's K-9 unit. Her partner, Rex, had been the department's elite drug detection and suspect apprehension dog. Together, they had participated in hundreds of operations and captured dozens of criminals. Her career in the K-9 unit was legendary. Sarah and Rex had set records in narcotics busts and demonstrated flawless performance in dangerous suspect apprehensions. Sarah's specialty was tactical dog deployment. She knew how to utilize dogs in organized crime raids, ensure officer safety, and safely contain suspects. But in 2015, everything changed. A raid Sarah participated in became the subject of a federal investigation. During a drug bust, allegations of evidence contamination arose. Sarah and Rex had performed their duties correctly, but political pressure and bureaucratic complications forced Sarah to resign. "You can stay in the system and fight this," Captain Wilson had told her, "but it'll be a long process and your career will suffer." Sarah chose a different path. She officially adopted Rex, left the department, and opened a dog training center in northern Denver. Nobody knew about her police background. Sarah Mitchell Thompson became simply Sarah Mitchell. Rex, Luna, Titan, and Echo all were former police dogs. Sarah adopted canines who had reached retirement age or been medically retired. These dogs struggled with civilian life adaptation. Sarah gave them new purposes, but their skills didn't disappear. During evening training sessions, Sarah kept the dogs' police training fresh, not for nostalgic reasons. Instinctively, she wanted to stay ready. Never know when those skills might be needed again, Sarah would think. For 8 years, she had lived this secret life. Even David Rodriguez didn't know her true background. Customers believed she was simply a talented dog trainer. But tonight, everything would change. Carlos Rodriguez had been running for 3 days, wanted on drug trafficking and assault charges, violating parole, desperately seeking a safe place to hide. 28 years old, athletic build, with a dangerous reputation. That evening at 6:30 p.m., as Sarah completed her normal closing routine, she noticed someone entering through the center's back gate. Rex immediately went on alert, emitting a low growl. At Sarah's hand signals, the other dogs quietly moved into position. Carlos used a flashlight to search for hiding spots in the dark center. Fleeing from a drug deal gone wrong, trying to escape police sirens, he had chosen to enter a random building. The dog training center appeared empty and safe. From her main office, Sarah watched Carlos on security monitors. The man was armed. She could see a gun outline at his hip. Suspicious behavior, nervous movement patterns, constantly checking behind him. Sarah immediately recognized the signs. This was someone running from law enforcement. A normal civilian would call police in such a situation. But Sarah's instincts operated differently. Despite 8 years out of service, her tactical thinking mode activated. Carlos entered the main training area, examining his surroundings with the flashlight. Sounds from the dog kennels made him nervous, but he assumed the building was empty. Sarah quietly positioned herself in a strategic location. Rex, Luna, Titan, and Echo, all 4 dogs remained in silent standby, waiting for Sarah's signals, ready to move. While Carlos attempted to find a hiding spot in the storage room, he accidentally knocked over training equipment. A loud crash. The dogs immediately went on alert, but waited for Sarah's signal. "Shit," Carlos muttered. "Nobody's here, right?" Sarah's heart rate remained calm. Years of training and experience had taught her to stay composed in stressful situations. She had lived this scenario hundreds of times. Carlos returned to the main area, checking exit routes. But escape routes were Sarah's advantage. She knew the building layout perfectly. 6:45 and 6:46, 6:47. At that moment, Sarah made her decision. This situation was too dangerous to handle through civilian authorities. Armed suspect, confined space, potential hostage situation. This required a K-9 tactical response. Sarah issued a single whistle. That whistle wasn't just an ordinary sound Carlos heard. For Rex, Luna, Titan, and Echo, it was a command to execute formations they had practiced for years. Rex immediately moved to Alpha position, blocking Carlos's front exit. Luna took Bravo position, covering the rear escape route. Titan assumed Charlie position for perimeter security, while Echo took Delta position for communication relay. Carlos suddenly realized the dogs were positioning themselves around him, but he still assumed it was casual pet behavior. "Hey, doggies," he said nervously. "Good boys, stay away." Sarah emerged from the shadows. Calm voice, controlled movements, professional demeanor. "Sir," Sarah said with clear, authoritative tone, "you're trespassing on private property. I need you to remain calm and follow my instructions." Carlos drew his gun, pointing it at Sarah. "Back off, lady." "I'm not looking for trouble. Just need a place to hide for a while." Sarah's position was perfect. Carlos couldn't see the dog's formation, but Sarah controlled every angle. "I understand you're in a difficult situation," Sarah said, voice steady, "but pointing that weapon at me isn't going to help. Let's resolve this peacefully." Carlos was confused. This woman was too calm. A normal civilian should be panicked in this situation. "You don't understand," Carlos said, waving the gun. "Police are looking for me. I can't go out there." Sarah stepped forward slightly. While Carlos focused his attention on her, The dogs silently tightened their formation. "What's your name?" Sarah asked. "None of your business." "Okay, here's what's going to happen," Sarah said, her voice changing slightly to a more commanding tone. "You're going to lower that weapon, and we're going to talk." Carlos laughed nervously. "You're in no position to give orders, lady." Sarah smiled slightly. "Actually, I am." Carlos's confusion was increasing. This woman's confidence didn't make sense. That's when Sarah issued the final whistle. 4 dogs moved simultaneously. Rex approached from the front with a low growl. Luna flanked from behind. Titan secured the left side. Echo blocked the right. Perfect tactical encirclement. Carlos panicked, waving his gun around. "Get these dogs away from me." "Drop the weapon," Sarah said, her voice now completely authoritative. "You're surrounded and have no escape routes." Carlos tried to move, but there was a trained canine in every direction. Rex showed teeth, ready to strike. Luna positioned for takedown. Titan and Echo maintained containment. "What the hell?" Carlos whispered. "These aren't normal dogs." "No," Sarah said, stepping closer. "They're not. And I'm not a normal dog trainer." Carlos's gun trembled in his hands. The dogs around him maintained professional formation, while the woman displayed the composure of someone who had experienced this situation hundreds of times. "Who are you?" Carlos asked, voice shaking. Sarah approached slowly, hands visible. "Rex," she said quietly. The dog immediately focused intensely. "Luna, perimeter." Luna adjusted position. "Titan, contain." Titan moved into ready-to-pounce position. Carlos realized these weren't normal pet commands. This was professional tactical terminology. "These are police dogs," Sarah said calmly. "Former K-9 unit, and I'm their former handler." Carlos's eyes widened. "You're a cop." "Former police officer. K-9 specialist. 12 years of tactical dog deployment experience." Sarah stepped closer. Carlos pointed the gun toward her, but his hands shook badly. "Now," Sarah said, "you have 2 choices. You can surrender peacefully, or these dogs will take you down. Rex alone is trained for suspect apprehension. He's taken down suspects twice your size." Carlos looked around desperately. There was an experienced police dog in every direction. Sarah's calm confidence was intimidating. "I don't want to hurt you," Carlos said. "And I don't want to hurt you either," Sarah replied. "But I will if necessary. Drop the weapon." Rex stepped forward slightly, intensifying his low growl. Luna positioned for rear takedown. Carlos was completely surrounded. "These dogs respond to my commands in milliseconds," Sarah explained. "They're trained for dangerous suspect apprehension. If you move aggressively, they will neutralize you before you can react." Carlos's resolve was crumbling. Professional training and experience overwhelmed amateur criminal confidence. Okay, he said finally. "Don't let them attack. Drop the weapon first." Carlos slowly placed his gun on the ground. Sarah immediately issued a whistle, different tone. The dogs maintained positions but slightly relaxed. "Now kick it away." Carlos complied. Sarah approached and secured the gun. "Hands behind your back." Carlos hesitated. "You're going to arrest me?" "I'm going to detain you until authorities arrive." Sarah pulled out her cell phone and dialed 911. "Denver Police? This is Sarah Mitchell at Paw Perfect Dog Training Center. I have a suspect in custody, armed trespassing and suspected fugitive. Need immediate response." Carlos accepted the situation. Against professional law enforcement response, resistance was futile. "How did you know?" he asked. "Know what?" "That I was running from police." Sarah smiled. Body language, movement patterns, stress levels, the way you checked exits. 12 years of experience teaches you to read people. 15 minutes later, Denver police units arrived. Officer Martinez and Officer Johnson were experienced patrol officers. "Sarah?" Officer Martinez said, surprised. "Sarah Thompson? Is that really you?" Sarah nodded. "Hello, Martinez. Long time. I thought you disappeared after leaving the department." "I did. Started a new life." Officer Johnson examined Carlos. "This is Carlos Rodriguez. He's wanted on multiple charges. How did you apprehend him?" Sarah explained briefly. Trespassing, armed threat, peaceful resolution. And these dogs? Martinez asked, looking at Rex. Wait, is that Rex, your old partner? Yes, Rex, Luna, Titan, Echo, all former canines. Martinez was impressed. You maintain their training? Basic maintenance, enough for situations like this. Officer Johnson arrested Carlos and read him his rights. Carlos complied quietly. Sarah, Martinez said privately, the department would love to have you back. We're short on canine specialists. Sarah shook her head. I have a different life now. This was just unusual circumstances. As Carlos listened to his Miranda rights, he looked at Sarah. You could have hurt me. Those dogs could have torn me apart. Why didn't you? Sarah considered his question. Because unnecessary violence isn't justice. You needed to be stopped, not destroyed. The officers escorted Carlos to their patrol car. Before leaving, Martinez gave Sarah his business card. If you ever change your mind about coming back, I won't. But thank you. The police cars drove away, leaving Sarah alone with her dogs. The next day, the story appeared in local news. Former police K-9 officer apprehends fugitive with retired police dogs. Details were minimal, but Sarah's background was revealed. David Rodriguez was shocked. Sarah, you never told me you were a police officer. I left that life behind, Sarah explained. I wanted to start fresh. But why? You were obviously very good at it. Sarah hesitated. Sometimes being good isn't enough. Politics, bureaucracy, complications. I decided civilian life was better. Customers now viewed the center with different perspective. Sarah was still the same person, but her hidden expertise had been revealed. Rebecca Thompson, arriving with Charlie, said, I always wondered why your training was so effective. Now I understand. You weren't just teaching tricks, you were teaching discipline. Sarah smiled. Every dog has potential. They just need proper guidance. Denver Police Department sent Sarah a recognition letter, thanking her for community service. But Sarah didn't want publicity. Local veterinarian Dr. Michael Kim visited Sarah. We've always wondered about your background. Your approach to behavioral rehabilitation is remarkably sophisticated. Experience teaches you patience, Sarah said simply. Would you consider consulting for us? We have cases that might benefit from your expertise. Sarah considered. I'm not in law enforcement anymore. This wouldn't be law enforcement. This would be helping animals with trauma, aggression issues, animals that need specialized rehabilitation. Sarah looked at Rex, Luna, Titan, and Echo. They were all rescue cases themselves, former working dogs adjusting to civilian life. I'll think about it. Weeks later, Sarah's center expanded with additional services. Behavioral rehabilitation required more space, specialized programs needed equipment, and trauma recovery demanded advanced techniques. David Rodriguez was promoted from assistant trainer to general manager. I want to learn everything, he said. The proper techniques, not just basic commands. Sarah began teaching David advanced training methods, not full police techniques, but sophisticated behavior modification approaches. Dr. Kim's referrals increased, dogs with PTSD, aggression issues, abandonment trauma. Sarah's methods proved remarkably effective. It's not just training, Sarah explained to new clients. It's understanding psychology. Dogs and humans have similar stress responses, similar needs for security and trust. Rex, Luna, Titan, and Echo received additional training for therapy work. Former police dogs were now helping other animals heal. Sarah's reputation grew within the professional community. Veterinarians, animal behaviorists, even other trainers came for consultations. But Sarah still preferred quiet life. No publicity, no interviews, just quality work. Fame isn't the goal, she told David. Helping is the goal. Denver Police Department occasionally reached out for consultations. K-9 training questions, behavioral assessments, professional advice. Sarah provided help remotely, in civilian capacity. You're still serving, Officer Martinez observed during one consultation visit. Different kind of service, Sarah replied. Same principles, different application. Carlos Rodriguez, serving his sentence in county detention, was enrolled in rehabilitation programs. Surprisingly, animal therapy was included. "That lady with the dogs," he told his counselor, "she showed me that strength isn't about intimidation. It's about control, self-control." The therapy dogs visiting the facility weren't Sarah's. She maintained her privacy, but the principles were similar: respect, communication, trust. "I spent my whole life thinking power came from fear," Carlos continued, "but those dogs, they followed her commands because they trusted her, not because they were afraid." His counselor nodded. "What do you think that means for your future?" "Maybe I need to learn how to earn trust instead of demanding fear." Meanwhile, Sarah's center continued growing, not in size or publicity, but in impact. Word spread quietly through professional networks. When traditional methods failed, veterinarians recommended Sarah Mitchell. A young woman named Jennifer Walsh brought her rescue dog, a former fighting dog with severe trauma. Traditional trainers had given up. "He's been through terrible things," Jennifer explained. "He doesn't trust anyone." Sarah knelt beside the scarred pit bull mix. The dog cowered, expecting violence. "Trust takes time," Sarah said softly. "We'll work at his pace." 3 months later, the same dog was certified as a therapy animal, visiting children's hospitals. "How did you do it?" Jennifer asked. "I didn't do anything," Sarah said. "I just gave him space to heal and showed him that not all humans are dangerous." Sarah Mitchell still operates Paw Perfect Dog Training Center. Rex, Luna, Titan, and Echo remain her partners, no longer law enforcement, but life companions. Her services have expanded beyond basic training to include trauma rehabilitation, behavioral therapy, and professional consultation. The center is now the premier destination in the Denver area for difficult cases: dogs that other trainers couldn't help, animals with complex behavioral issues, working dogs transitioning to civilian life. Sarah's approach remains unique: professional expertise combined with genuine compassion. She understands that training isn't about dominance, it's about communication, not about force, but about trust. David Rodriguez has become an expert trainer himself. Through Sarah's patient teaching, he's learned sophisticated techniques. Sarah doesn't just train dogs, he tells clients, she builds relationships. The local law enforcement community still respects Sarah, accepting her choice to remain civilian. "She found her calling," Captain Wilson said. "Sometimes serving the community doesn't require a badge." That night's incident with Carlos Rodriguez reminded everyone that expertise doesn't disappear. Skills remain, waiting for the moment when they're needed. Sarah's story is about hidden expertise, second chances, and service beyond uniform. Sometimes the most powerful skills are ones you hope never to use, but remain ready to deploy when necessary. And those 4 dogs, Rex, Luna, Titan, Echo, they're proof that retirement doesn't mean uselessness. Former working animals can find new purpose, new ways to serve. The secret room exists in all of us: hidden skills, forgotten expertise, quiet competence waiting for the right moment to emerge. Sarah Mitchell's room contained tactical knowledge and canine partnership that transformed a dangerous situation into a lesson about professional grace under pressure. So I ask you, have you ever met someone like Sarah? Someone with hidden expertise, professional background they don't advertise? Someone who chose quiet service over public recognition? Share their story in the comments. At The Secret Room, we believe the most powerful stories are about quiet competence, hidden expertise, and service without seeking credit. Subscribe and share if this story resonated with you. We'll see you in the next story. Until then, if you see someone working quietly with animals, remember, they might have skills and experience that could change everything in a critical moment. Real heroes don't always wear uniforms. Sometimes they wear cargo pants and carry dog treats, ready to whistle once when the moment demands it.